Thanks for excellent year of experience and European law, because as far as you know, I'm not a European lawyer, I'm tax lawyer. But taxes have a lot of similarities with European law, and it's very much influenced by European law. And we all know that European law touches VAT and excise taxes, but my topic today is motor vehicles. Everybody probably has a motor vehicle, and we are Europeans, so do we have to afraid of any harmonization, or is there some competition maybe between states? And I want to show you several examples and maybe find certain conclusions. Here you can see that we are paying a lot of taxes connected with cars or generic motor vehicles. VAT, of course, I don't want to talk about it at all. Fuel taxes, excise taxes, again, nothing for me. We are paying also a lot of charges, taxes, prices, God knows what is the title. In fact, when we are using motorways, highways, tunnels, maybe. And here you can see that there are very different rules. In Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, we have to buy some vignettes. In Poland, generally nothing, but if you go from Wrocław to Krakow or from Toruń to Gdynia or Gdańsk, you have to pay manually. How is it possible if we have European regulation called Eurovignette? And I have to pay much more in Poland for that short piece of highway than in Hungary. Well, probably because these highways are built in PPP projects, and that's why we have to pay, and Eurovignette doesn't cover these PPP projects or private highways. So that's why we are paying a lot in Italy. Benetton is not because of clothes, Benetton is because of highways. This is the main source of incomes of Benetton. Administrative charges connected with vehicle registration. Also, you have to pay something for plates or something, small amounts. Insurance tax. In some countries, it's really a tax. In the Czech Republic, it's an insurance and other similar payments. But I want to talk about two really taxes. One is the circular tax or annual tax paid every year because simply you have a car. And the second one is the registration tax. Tax you have to pay when you buy the car for the first time. For Czech students, this is something we don't have. So it will be something new for you. This paper has certain aim to examine how and to what extent the EU can influence motor vehicle taxation. That is, whether there is any European cooperation in this area or competition between EU member states prevails. And I also stated some hypotheses. Forget it, let's continue. Some numbers. Okay, a bit old. It's a Commission press release from 2012. But you can see that car taxation accounted almost 2% of all tax revenues in Europe. What is not bad. It's more than immovable property, for example. Each year, 30 million new passenger cars are registered in EU. 3 million cars are moved to another member state. Interesting, but I will explain why so high number. And I have to say that generally, registration and circulation taxes are not harmonized. Generally, this is the statement of EU, risking double taxation for citizens and business and the fragmentation of the single market. But how can we think about double taxation? All EU member states strictly follow first Eurovignette directive. Second, there is a decision of the court, Radvan and others. We pay just once at the state where the motor vehicle is registered. Maybe you remember the times before we entered EU. Huge queues of trucks waiting in front of borders. Not because of controls. They had to buy some vignettes or they had to pay some motor vehicle tax. This is not the case, and all countries are following that. So I can't imagine any case of double taxation for motor vehicles. And what is happening historically, in 2005, the Commission came with a brilliant idea to abolish these registration taxes and to replace it with these annual taxes Some people call that green taxes. Well, why not? And also there was some strategy how to replace the lost revenue from these registration taxes with increasing this annual tax. Here you have certain aspects. Maybe you can go through that. But what was the troubling? Specifically the tax rate, because the tax rate of these registration taxes could be really high. The highest still is. It's a case of Denmark. In Denmark, the highest tax rate is 180% of the value of the car. We are talking about not really ecological car, we are talking about very expensive car, of course. But if the value of the car is, I don't know the numbers exactly, let's say 100,000 euros for the car, then in Denmark you pay 280. But in Germany, you buy the car for 100. So if you are Danish, it's much easier to go to Germany, maybe start there some business, set a legal person and buy the car in Germany. But all these producers of cars are aware of this very high taxation in Denmark. So in Denmark, the price of the car is not 100,000, but only 70,000, sorry. That's why the tax rate is then not 180, but maybe only 100. So still it's more than in Germany, but generally less without taxes. So what is happening? Germans are going to Denmark, buying cars in Denmark for 70, registering these cars back in Germany. But Danish people are going to Germany and buying the same cars in Germany, maybe taking them back home. Or using them at home, definitely, on German plates. This is the case of many Hungarian cars in Slovakia, with Slovakian plates, because your registration tax in Hungary is higher than in Slovakia. In Slovakia you have the tax, we don't. That's why in Bratislava you have a lot of cars with Czech plate, with Slovakian drivers. That's why 3 million cars are sold somewhere else than freely used. Some issues about the structure of these taxes. We can have a discussion who is paying the tax, whether it's a user or possessor or owner. It should be the possessor because owner is very often some leasing company, so it's much easier. What is the object of taxation? Well, Eurovignette states that it should be every car with the weight over 12 tons. We now somehow follow that. We can talk about whether to tax business cars or non-business cars. In the Czech Republic, we never tax non-business cars, only business. Nowadays, we really tax only cars over 12 tons, nothing else, because Czech government and Ministry of Finance believe that property taxes are something ugly and we should abolish that. So even the Czech Republic started discussion at the EU level whether not to abolish the Eurovignette directive at all. This will never happen. What can be the tax base? Well, we said value, but it can be also age, it can be CO2 emissions, Euro limits, it can be weight, number of ales, engine power, fuel type, fuel consumption. You have billions of possibilities how to set the tax base for cars. And maybe this is the reason why this is so sympathetic tax for me at least. So where is the problem? Registration tax definitely is the problem. But still, doing some analysis, I believe that it doesn't violate Article 28. Also, articles concerning taxes are not breached at all. But very probably Article 26, this is my feeling, this is the problematic issue. It says that EU shall adopt measures with the aim of establishing or ensuring the functioning of the internal market. But what is the internal market? First, but there are billions of books about that and articles. I am afraid that this Article 26 might be broken, and specifically talking about these registration taxes, because it's really not comfortable. Definitely, from that economic point of view, it's a troubling issue. Several conclusions. Registration tax is troubling. Circle tax, this is okay. And there are many thoughts, so again, you can read it, but check how we, member states, meaning follow these European decisions or advices. They said in 2005 you have 5 or 10 years to abolish registration taxes. So what has happened? Several countries, Bulgaria, Croatia, Lithuania, Slovakia, started collecting this tax. Some really abolished. Cyprus and Luxembourg, they are good. They are trying to be good EU member states, but Eastern Europe, we don't care. So there are more states collecting even this registration tax. And the second issue is very much connected with ecological taxation or eco aspect. You know me, I'm not really fan of everything that is eco and green, because my feeling is that very often it's just that fairy tale you need for new taxes, that something is green or more eco. Okay, I sort the waste, definitely, and I don't kick mushrooms in the wood, but in taxation it's a problematic issue. Still here, CO2 emissions seems to be the best tool you can use for the tax base for motor vehicle taxation. So I'm absolutely for this. It should be a bit green, and this is probably the only tax that can be really green. You can see that several states began using CO2 emissions as a tax base, such as Austria, France, Slovenia, or even increased the importance of CO2 emissions. Malta, Netherlands. Anyway, Netherlands was the first country, together with the UK, where CO2 emissions were used. And you can see also France and Lithuania having some pollution limits influencing the tax on motor vehicles. And then it's an issue if we should have any exemptions or tax reliefs, because it makes the tax administration more complicated. And also with electric cars. Okay, now we know that electric cars are not sold because of that guy with orange hair. But maybe again Tesla will be here, because still every day they produce 60,000 cars, not sold. But in Austria is not taxing electric cars. Are they really ecologic? I don't expect any answer. Thank you very much.